For staying with us here on Morning Live. Now, the robbery at the newly opened state-of-the-art Menzi Primary School in Tsakane has shocked many, with the Gauteng MEC for Education, Panyazi Lesufi, pleading with the community to help find those responsible. Now, the suspects made off with 185 tablets, 8 teachers' laptops, and other equipment. And the department spent 105 million rand to build the facility, which previously taught learners in shacks. And last year, more schools in the province's East Rand were also burgled and vandalized. Now, to discuss the repercussions of this act, we joined now by Chris Malimacha, who is the chairperson of the South African National Civic Organization, SANCO, as well as Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona. Gentlemen, thanks for coming through and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Mr. Mabona, let me start with you. Just the latest with regard to the developments at Menzi Primary.
Look, we are relying on the police. They started yesterday to conduct their investigation. And as you will know, that the MEC has challenged the members of the community to assist with any information that they have. We are hoping that at least something will come. We are working very hard, making sure that any information that is availed, it will then be conveyed to the police. It's quite sad that the criminals, actually, they went to an extent of, removing the hard drive of your CCTV camera. So you can't even, check on what transpired on the day. It's quite sad. But the curriculum is not, compromised. The learners are continuing to learn, though they utilize now, your exercise books, comparatively speaking, they are now on a tablet, mode because they are taught with the smart board, so they need to follow on the tablet. So we'll interacting with the school to just check on how we're going to intervene. But what is paramount for us is the community to assist in making sure that we retrieve the equipment.
So there has been some criticism leveled against the department and the MEC in particular for basically oversharing with regard to some of the security measures, for example, at the school, because some are saying this sounds pretty much like an inside job, just given the extent and also how smoothly it seemed to have been carried out. But they are saying the department should shoulder some of the blame for basically laying those plans bare.
Not really. Remember, sharing information does not mean that you compromise. But if people inside the organization, start to share that information on where is what, how did they know about that, whether the tablets are being charged in the IT support room? How did they know that this is where you access the keys? Because there's no way that MEC has publicized information that this is where you get keys. They broke into that vault. They were very clear on what they were doing, because after accessing the keys, then they went to different rooms where they did not break anything. They were just opening, utilizing those keys. How did they know that? So it's an intelligence that is very close to the school, not that the MEC has already compromised the school in terms of sharing information. MEC, what he shares is to say, the community, this is what we're going to be delivering to you, and we are proud of this infrastructure. Please make sure that you safeguard, make sure that you protect it. In all the activities where we hand over the schools, MEC is very clear to say, make sure that you safeguard the school, make sure that you are whistleblowers. If there's anything, interact with the police. And it's quite clear that when there are marches, you also, say, there's no one that must come near the school. You must protect it. It must not be banned, because banning of a school, and it's very clear, you must know that we're not going to come back there and fix that school. Once you ban a school, we move. We're not coming back there. There's a school in Tshwane, in around Cullinan, where they banned that school, and we went there to tell them that actually we are here to tell you that we're not coming back to fix the school. And we never went back there. So it's quite clear that when we go there and, hand over an infrastructure of this magnitude, we're very clear that the community must assist to safeguard this. Hence, we are challenging them to assist with the information by Friday. If nothing is coming, then, like as we said, we will consider to remove all the expensive equipment that we have there, because it seems like people don't need it.
Which is a very interesting stance, because I'm sure people will rush to point to the Constitution and the right to education and juxtapose that to the very hardline position that the department has taken. And many, I'm sure, will be in agreement with the department as well to say, well, you've already been served, hence others need to be served. But that's an argument for another day. I want to come to you, Chris. And, you know, these incidents, because as Steve is pointing out, this is not an isolated incident. Schools have been stolen, have been burnt down, equipment has been stolen from schools, and these are happening in communities where the department, the government is trying to uplift these communities through education. So what is your response to what is going on, and especially things that are happening in and to schools?
No, thanks, man. Let's take this opportunity as Sanku to express our really concern about these things that is happening in the schools. We never thought that in the community we still have these heartless thugs who can deny our kids better future. But we are saying as civic movement that it is not all communities which are behaving like this. We understand the rotten element in the community. We are prepared to work with the department to ensure that we root them out. We have already instructed our local structure in the form of street committees and the CPF to work with the police to ensure that before the given date, so to secure what the government in the form of department gave to that community expire, we arrest these people. There should be no mercy for any thug that go to an extent of stealing the future of our country, in a form of stealing whatever belongs to a child who is meant to come and be the leader of this country. We are very disturbed that on earth, how on earth people can gang themselves, target a school. And we don't rule out what the spokesperson is saying. We don't rule out what the rumors are roaming around, that it can be inside the job. But we are questioning to say, how on earth, who's this particular person who can do such things? Therefore, we are with the department here to ensure that we arrest them, and we are condemning this, even for future. If there's anything that is about to happen, we are calling upon these people and say, you are not necessarily stealing from the government. You are stealing the future of your own child. You see, in South Africa, we are very fortunate, in particular in this province, where we are preparing our own kids for the upcoming fourth industrial revolution. Whatever Panyaza Lesufi and his team are doing, they are not necessarily dealing with this education. They are dealing with the legacy of apartheid. Way back 1952, when the Bantu education was introduced, it was introduced purely to deny the previously disadvantageous community and education. Here, Panyaza Lesufi has jumped many steps to say, gone are those days. I don't want to be labeled in that history. I want to prepare our kids, come this, and they can compete with other countries. Yet somebody, an old person, if I can just assume, decide to target the school and open a black market. Because whether like it or not, these things are going to be sold in the community. We are saying community, assist. Don't buy, don't confront them, inform the police. So that at the end of the day, we act together to end this act.
So, Chris, what this betrays is a certain mindset that still exists within disadvantaged communities, whereby people seemingly in these instances that we are talking about do not see these schools as entities that belong to the community, that is meant for the benefit and upliftment of the community. Asanko, what are you doing? What can you do in order to change that mindset?
You see, let me simplify it this way. During the olden days, people thought if you go out of the township, go and steal in the suburbs, you were rated to be the best clever. Not aware that stealing is stealing. Wherever you commit a crime, crime is crime. So in this case, we still have people who have got a wrong and outdated mentality that they don't want to transform and own up to such institutes such as a school and own up to police stations. People must learn to understand that school belongs to them and they be prepared to protect it. Police stations belongs to them. Those people who are there are just employees. What it is matters and very important is for them to protect those institutes so that their kids get quality education, advanced education. But if we've got the community or we've got element within the community who still act barbarically to an extent of destroying the very same equipment which are meant to assist their kids, it also disturbing. Here we are talking about the department bringing things that never been in that particular community to be there. If you'll remember and recall very well, these things, you'll find them somewhere where you have to pay so much huge price. But here's the department saying, here we are, can our kids get equal education to whoever is somewhere far? But we still have this thing. But what we normally encourage is in a form of our campaign is to do awareness. But when conducting this awareness, you must understand that even in the classroom, we've got those who will capture it and understand the education and those who will drop out. Our understanding is that those who are committing this are the dropping out of community awareness.
And then again, Steve, you know, last year there were also reports at other schools of equipment being stolen, tablets being stolen, and people are questioning whether the department has learned any lessons from that, number one. And others are saying perhaps, just perhaps, these communities that the department is trying to uplift are not ready to receive this type of technological injection. Perhaps it needs to wait until you are able to put in state-of-the-art security in these facilities before you actually equip these schools. How does the department respond to that?
No, look, it's quite isolated. I mean, we cannot say we're not going to invest in township education because of criminals. Hence, we identify them and say, they are supposed to be, you know, dealt with. Hence, we are saying the community must play a major role, making sure that they identify these people. They know them in the community. That's what we are saying. I mean, look at what we are doing today. We are hosting the top township performing schools because of our intervention there. I mean, they gave us 100%. They gave us over 90%. We are hosting them this morning for breakfast to say thank you very much for, you know, the good work, and they continue to do what we are doing. So we want to host, because we're hosting 3 schools, we want to host more than 5 schools probably next year, you know, to say, you know, thank you for the good, you know, job. Because of our intervention, we invest a lot in township education. So we cannot be derailed by, you know, few incidents of criminal activity. What we call upon is the community to work with us. I mean, in other schools, they went to an extent of breaking a wall, took out the window with a frame, and accessed the school. I mean, if they break, use that, you know, that noise that will be coming, you cannot tell me that in the community you don't hear, I mean, that noise. So you need to then report to the police to say, there's something that is really amiss in the school. Really, please come check what is happening here. We can't be keeping quiet and say, you know, I've got nothing to do with this, probably because my child is not at that school, or you don't want to care about the school.
But the other concern then is also that, and I've seen some of these comments being made, that you may be promoting vigilantism, asking for people to be outed by the community, and who knows how the community will deal with that. So we're literally out of time, so I just want you to respond to that very briefly, and Chris, I'll give you an opportunity as well.
No, we can't be misunderstood. I mean, we're figuratively saying hunt down the criminals, but we're saying give us the information, take the information that you can, you know, have to the police. I mean, we're not saying people must go there and, you know, arrest, because that's not their function. For them, because they must be vigilant. They are in the community. If someone come and say, I'm selling this product, which they know that does not have that shop, and there's an information that the school has been burglared, so they need to be vigilant and say and share the information to say, this is what we had, and the police will then act.
Chris?
No, I think people must stop playing games with these very serious matters. You can't be expecting the minister or the MEC to go and guard the school. It is the responsibility of the community to own up and to ensure that we really be vigilant enough to ensure that no one is stealing something from the school and come and sell it in the community. So that is the only straightforward thing that is needed. People must not play a political football with this incident, because at the end of the day, it's us who are going to lose. The minister has done, or the MEC has done his level best to acquire funds to ensure that we get our school fully equipped to can match the quality education that we desire. Therefore, we are calling upon the community to act responsibly.
Well, thank you so much to both of you, and I'm sure this debate will rage on. And our guest this morning, Chris Malimacha, the chairperson of Sanko, and that's Sanko in Gauteng, as well as Steve Mabona, who's the spokesperson for the Gauteng Education Department. So we'll leave that one there. If you want to engage on it, at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle. For now, though, it is 8 o'clock and time for the latest news with Leanne.